Washington. Anthony, just remind us, what exactly did Donald Trump say to Volodymyr Zelensky that got this whole ball rolling?
What people have highlighted as the particularly controversial part about this is that Donald Trump asked for a favor immediately after President Zelensky talked about military aid that the United States was offering. In this favor, Donald Trump mentioned an investigation into Russian hacking in 2016, but then he went on to talk about Ukraine reopening an investigation into Joe Biden and his son. And if you'll recall, Joe Biden is one of the frontrunners for the Democratic presidential nomination and possibly Donald Trump's opponent in 2020. So what Democrats are saying is this was Donald Trump using the powers of the presidency in order to advance a specific personal political goal.
I've heard various Republicans over the airwaves in recent days saying this is all fake news. What evidence is there actually in black and white behind these allegations?
The White House has provided a readout of that phone conversation. It's not a word-for-word transcript, but it's an account of people who were listening to the conversation that the White House put together. And so in that readout, we have a description of that phone conversation. That is the evidence, the firsthand evidence that we've seen. Now, we found out about this because of a whistleblower complaint that was filed by a member of the intelligence community, possibly a member of the Central Intelligence Agency, who used these whistleblower statute that allows a government employee to highlight an abuse or some sort of corruption, and it worked its way up and then eventually became public knowledge, and that's how this pressure became a public issue.
And from what Donald Trump has said and tweeted in recent days and hours since all this emerged, how much pressure does it seem like he is under over this phone call?
Well, it seems like it's dominating his attention right now, that he has been tweeting about it all morning. As we heard, he's been talking about it in press availabilities for the past couple of days. He clearly is preoccupied with impeachment and how to defend or exonerate himself from the implications of it.
Right, and on that very word, impeachment, just to roll back a little, Anthony, what does it actually mean, and what are the potential consequences and the consequences potentially in this particular case?
So impeachment is a process that's spelled out in the United States Constitution for removal of high-level public officials, such as federal judges, members of a cabinet, and the President of the United States. It is a two-part process. The first part, the actual impeachment process, is a vote in the House of Representatives to impeach a president. It takes a majority vote in that chamber. Look at that as, say, like a criminal indictment of charges. Then the process moves to the United States Senate, which holds a trial with the U.S. Supreme Court Justice presiding over it, and members of the Senate serving as a jury, and the prosecution being members of the House of Representatives. At the end of that trial, the 100-body U.S. Senate, 100-member U.S. Senate votes, and it takes 2/3 of the Senate in order to remove a president from office. It is a complicated procedure. There have only been 2 U.S. presidents who have been impeached and gone to a Senate trial, once in the 1860s and once, of course, Bill Clinton in the 1990s. Both of those people were not removed. They won their Senate votes.
And in Donald Trump's case, how much danger could this potentially put him in?
Well, you've got to remember that the Democrats have a majority in the U.S. House of Representatives. So if the Democrats stick together and vote for impeachment, they can push it through into the Senate. However, Republicans hold the majority, 53-47, in the U.S. Senate. And, of course, it would take 65 votes in order to remove a president. So they would have to see a real break within Republican ranks for them voting to remove the president, for him to be taken out of office. So that seems like a long shot at this point, but an impeachment is still a black mark on a presidency, and it clearly is something that Donald Trump is not enjoying, and he's becoming more combative the closer we get to a vote.